our website, but so initially Sarah thought she wanted to paint landscapes, but eventually found herself more interested and excited about painting still life due to the variety of colors, shapes, textures, and reflective surfaces possible. And if you look at her work here and here, I mean, she does these gorgeous jars and vases and amazing. So she enjoys painting both and often experiments with mixing a still life with a landscape. I don't know if we see any of those, but we've seen them. The pastel medium is appealing to Sarah because of the immediacy of the color. We all understand that. And the ability to build layers of colors. Her selection of subjects is often based on a desire to find and replicate the way light bounces around a scene or a setup. And so I'm glad you have the photo and a painted example. So I admire that too. For that reason, glass, china, and other reflective surfaces are often featured in her still lifes. Flowers are also a favorite subject, as you can see, and whether as part of a still life or as found in nature. She enjoys the challenge of capturing a strong sense of light and creating the illusion of 3 dimensions on a 2-dimensional surface. And with each painting, Sarah hopes to inspire an emotional reaction in the viewer of joy or happiness. And so, welcome, Sarah. And in case you forget to mention, I've already had a question about whether these paintings are for sale.
Oh, sure.
So if you want to get your very
¿Cuánto
own,
pesados? How much?
Oh,
talk to Sarah.
yeah, talk to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, as my husband says, everything's for sale.
Much is
If he's in the back, waves. That's my husband, Jim. He drove up. So I guess what I'll start with is I decided to paint flowers for you today because I have been painting a lot of flowers lately. And in particular, I have done a lot of sunflower paintings, and part of that is because that's what I sell the most, but I also, they just make me happy. And I like to paint things where when I look at them, they make me happy. And I'll go, I go into Trader Joe's and I see the sunflowers and they just make me happy. So that's what I thought I would do today. I will start with some of the basics. I use UArt paper. I use the dark version a lot. I also have used the sand color. I tend to use the 400 grade, but I have 500 and the 320 grade. Oh, sorry, I should say. Into the spotlight. Hopefully you can, if you can't hear me or see something, just let me know. If I use the sand colored paper, I will tone it with watercolor beforehand usually, or I will put some pastel on it and move it around with the alcohol. I mount my paintings or the paper on a board before I start. I like to use mat board. I ran out of mat board and then I ordered the wrong mat board, so I ended up using acid-free foam core lately. And the painting on the top right over there is a painting that I put, my favorite color backgrounds are either the dark gray like this, or kind of a medium gray, or a wine color. Those are the ones I like the best. So the one on the top right has a background that is a little bit of Payne's gray with permanent alizarin crimson, and that's the watercolor. I know Sandy had asked me a question about how I do some of my pots, and so I thought, or like my vases, so I thought I'd give you a little hint on something that I do to get my pot symmetrical, and that is, it's something, I read an article about Daniel Green in the Pastel Journal about how he did this oriental rug in the background of a painting that has an auctioneer, like it's at an auction house. And I was fascinated with this oriental rug, and in the text it said that he would use a stencil. So he would figure out the pattern and then he would flip the stencil over. So on my pots, sometimes, not very often, I can get them symmetrical to start with, but that is very rare. And a lot of times I have trouble like figuring out, is it the top? Which part is not right? So what I will do is I'll line up the tracing paper, the glassine, with the bottom edge of the paper, and I'll copy on the tracing paper the one side, and then I will cut that out and flip it over, see? And then I trace around it on the other side, and usually it's, oh, wow, I never would have thought that was the problem, because I can see that it's wrong, but I can't always figure out which part is wrong. So for example, the pot on the lower right there, I used that to just make sure the sides were symmetrical. Because I did have, in one of the Pastel Society of Colorado shows, I had a green vase with sunflowers in it one year. And I had, before I sent it to the show, I thought, something is off, but I couldn't figure it out. And when it came back from the show, I was just horrified because I went, oh my gosh, the top is like, the top part was like shifted over a little bit, but I could never figure out what was wrong. But that's how I traced the one side, so I had to repaint that. So if you remember that painting, I fixed it.
Didn't it win an award?
It was on your website, which was kind of horrifying for me. But you can see my mistake. So I didn't start out my adult life as an artist. I started as an engineer. So I think sometimes that my engineering background bleeds through into how I paint or how I do my drawings. Initially when I started, I was like super detailed and I had to draw every little speck, and as time has gone on, I've managed to let go a little bit, but it's always been a challenge for me to kind of release my art spirit. So that's the paper. The pastels, I just tend to use, like, I've won pastels for prizes. At one of your shows, I won some Holbein pastels, and I like them, so I went and bought a whole set. And this is my pile of pastels. So I keep these in a separate box because they're harder. And then this has a lot of Richardson pastels in it. And I'm not quite sure, I brought this box. I think I put this box together for my class with Lorenzo. Hi, Lorenzo. That's what's in here. I just mentioned that because in my studio, I'm surrounded by like 2,000 pastels, and drawers, and I'm trying to scale down because you're not very portable if you have to take 2,000 pastels with you. So I've been trying to be more compact and just figure out. So I've been working from like these boxes in my studio despite having like thousands of other ones, and I kind of add and subtract. But I probably will never be a person who can get by on like 15. But what, if you've seen my box here, this is my sunflower box. Because I do so many sunflowers, I started collecting up which pastels I like to use for sunflower, when I do my sunflower paintings. And
So what brands are those?
what's
What
that?
brands are those?
Oh, so I have some Unisons in here. I have some Jack Richardson. I have some Giraud pastels. I have some Terry Ludwig. But what I did yesterday was I went and I picked out ones I think. See, this is a smaller box than this one, so hopefully, I haven't tried this one yet, and I'm not sure that I want to try it today just because that might be a little too stressful, but you're welcome to take a picture of it, but don't email me later and say, oh, Sarah, that didn't work, but, so that's, in an effort to try to streamline, I made this little sunflower box for myself. And then I did bring, these are other pastels I knew I needed for this painting that maybe were in this box, but I just separated them out. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so this painting I didn't plan this very well, but you can see this is the photo. I have the real thing set up, and then this is what I actually painted from the actual setup. And I actually have done a workshop for the Pastel Society of New Mexico that I called Training Your Artist's Eye Through Still Life, because like Sandy had mentioned, I thought I wanted to be a landscape painter. But what I found when I went outside, everything changed so fast, I could not comprehend the values. And so I found when I went back to my studio and I just started working on still life, that really helped me to see the values better, because if you're outside, the sun doesn't stay still, and those dang bugs, you got bugs, and then you gotta like go to the bathroom in the forest, and it's just not. So I found personally that sitting in front of a still life, I was able to study it for like 8 hours and really work on my values. Oh, and I wanted to mention, so this was another thing that I used a lot with the filter, where I could really figure out the values, and it's the value relationships that are important. And so the class that I taught was just talking about still life can be a way for you to really hone your perception of the values, because it gives you time, and so that's what I had figured out was that. So I started painting still lifes, and that's where I got my values. And that's where I started to figure out the warmths and cools just by actually painting and seeing what was there. So I usually work from life. Sandy asked me if I'd be actually setting something up, and that kind of horrified me, because I thought, I told Sandy, well, if I set something up, you would never see me do any painting, because I spend a ton of time doing my still life setup and doing my drawing. So for today, we'll just, it's like a cooking show. We're gonna skip to the this part.
Sarah?
Yes.
I don't know if you're planning on talking about it, but could you mention things you think about as you're putting together the still
Oh,
life?
sure. I like to have some dramatic lighting or interesting lighting. Like this one I thought was kind of fun because it has a very dark background, so the sunflowers really pop. So the lighting is important to me. And then also the colors. I just love, which is why I brought the jewel tone paintings that I have there. That's important to me when I do a still life, is finding a color theme that I like. And a lot of times, okay, so on this little card, it has the I don't remember what those are called,
Grid lines?
yeah, with the 4 points where you should
Yeah.
have the
Focal points.
focal point. Thank you. The focal point, yes. So what I do so as an example, I'll set up my still life and then I will use this and I'll look at it and I take a lot of pictures. I load them onto my computer and I'm just looking at the thumbnails. And what I figured out later when I took a class from Kim Lordier, that I'm actually using those as like little value sketches, but they're little photos, so I'll see I'll take like 30 photos and I'll look at them, and the ones that pop out to me just as like an interesting value relationship, those are the ones that I'll look at in Adobe Photoshop and start to figure out, oh, okay, this is great, but I need to move this flower, or I need to have something interesting over here. And a lot of times that's based on these 4 points. A lot of times what I do is I'll think of it as how is my eye going to move around the painting? And I can look at the photo and kind of map that out. So I use this a lot. I have like 6 of them, but I think I only can find 1 now. But is that helpful? There was something else but to summarize, I really try to make sure I'm using those 4 points to put my focal point into. A lot of times I will kind of plan, like, here's my main one, but I need to have something over here, and I want to have like where my eye will go around the painting, how I lead the person's eye around the painting. Something else I have done with my photos is if I take a photo and I go, I did have this recently with the painting that I had in the Pastels Society of America show last year. I had painted it, and that was the second time I had painted that. And the first time, right in the wrong place, was like this dark hole. And what I noticed is when my eye went around, it like fell right into I don't know how to, there's technical term for it, but you would just go boom, and it would get lost right there. So that I realized I liked the setup, but I needed to fix that spot. So what I did was I cut out a sunflower from one of my other photos and I just stuck it on there. And that worked. So I didn't have to, I could have a reference where I had the flower in the right place so that I could paint it like that. So I use photos a lot for my, composing the paintings, but I do spend a lot of time, what was it you said, like I'm running out of storage space on my Google Cloud or whatever, because I take so many pictures and they're all of the same thing, but the one flower's moved a little bit, or I've adjusted the angle of the lighting. I am trying to, when I started painting, I did everything mostly straight on because it was the easiest perspective for me. Lately, I've been trying to experiment with some different perspectives. My favorite lately has been like in the top right corner there, the looking down. So that's where I'm like on a step stool in my studio, pointing down with my camera. You do have to be very careful with photos though, because they lie. And so, and that's why I brought the finished painting as well as the photo, because this is what I actually saw, but this is when you print out the photo, it doesn't look the same.
Yeah.
So that's to give you an example of that. So I use, on this dark paper, I use, I think this is a teacher's correcting pencil, which is red. So on this one, I did not use the correcting pencil, that's a darker red. I have 4 kids, and every year I had to buy complete sets of pencils for them. So I have like hundreds of orange and red colored pencils that I have used. So this was more of an orange one. But usually I like to, here's a little one. I actually think I'm running out, but it's whatever contrasts with it. When I use the red paper, I just use a graphite pencil for that. And what I really find interesting is I had started on Wallace paper when I first started painting, and I really liked that. But then I had seen some artists who had used the red background, so I thought, I want to try that. But what really surprised me is how much the color of the surface you use affects your choice of pastel. And so I found that with the wine red background, that I chose warmer colors, and so my paintings ended up very warm. I had to correct a little bit for that, but I just thought that was really interesting. I think it's called simultaneous contrast or something. But I found it very interesting. But I tend to use more the neutral tones lately. Plus, this is a lot easier when the paper comes already done, and you don't have to spend all that time like toning it and then mounting it. So to talk about if I'm doing one of the paintings where the background is lighter, I will put in some of the background color before I start. Let's see. On this one it's a blue background, but I'll start kind of mapping in some of the background color, and I do that because the dark background confuses me at first, so I have to kind of put in some of the lighter colors to give me a frame of reference. Otherwise, I'll get too dark. But in all my flower paintings, and this is not, so I'm gonna give you the secret sauce for how I do my flowers. And it's not my secret. It was, I had a little book that was written by Elizabeth Morrow, and because Mowry, sorry, yes, Mowry, Elizabeth Mowry. And up to that point in time, I had thought I had to paint every single petal. But Elizabeth Mowry freed me of that because she said, no, all you have to do is squint and you pick a dark, a mid, and a light, and then a highlight color. And you start with the darks, then you do the midtones, and you're not painting the petals, you're painting the shapes you see when you squint. And that was like, freed me. I could do like marigolds or carnations. That's why I brought these examples, because there's like some flowers in there with lots of petals, and I did not have to paint all those petals. I just had to squint and figure out which, so what I'll do, okay, I will start with this, and I'm not very good at talking and painting at the same time, but what I'll do is I will start with the darkest dark, and I try to, I'll try to remember to put a little example of it over here. Make that a little too mobile. And I will work on one flower at a time, but I try not to finish it each time. I try to just kind of get like a first pass at it. But here, let me first mention, like, okay, so here's the darkest dark, because I told you about my secret. And then I have like, this is a mid-tone. I've expanded. I don't just keep to one mid-tone color now. I have a few that I use. And then I will go to, so those are some of my mid-tones, and then I have my, so those essentially are the colors that I'm going to be using, but I start with the dark, and I have to get like tuned into the, if I do that you can see, so I'll try to, and this will come out right away. It'll come out darker, but eventually it will work. Now, I forgot to mention something. So, in order to not have to avoid where it's like this perfect little round thing, I will go in and on some of these petals, I want to make sure I get some of the variation in there, and then I also want to make sure that I have the direction of where the petals are going. Where's another? Okay, so up here, this helps you avoid, so I have so it doesn't become like a perfect little circle. So I'm trying to make sure I get some of the petal variations in there, and then I also want to know which way those petals are coming out. And on this one, I changed this up a little bit. I'm not quick, because in the picture it actually they came up over the middle, and I'm going to have them come down. This one. Have some. That way you can remember when you're going to town on the petals that there's some variation. You can get them going the right direction. There's a big shadow across that one from that leaf there. Okay. Now see, that looks pretty, it doesn't look dark on the dark paper, but if I put it on this light color, it's really pretty dark. So it took me a while to get the, oh, here's another, sorry. Here's another of my middle colors that I like. So I'm gonna start with some of these. And over on this side, it's more orange, so I'll put some of that. I think I want this other one. And good thing I brought a finished version of it in case this one doesn't turn out.
Do you mostly work with the soft pastels?
It just depends. I tend to start with, this is a Giraud, so I tend to start with the, but if it has the right color, I'm not shy about using the softer ones. But it does make it harder to put stuff on top if I have used, it does make it harder if I use the soft pastel real early. It makes it harder to put, which is why I have this box, because that lets me do a lot of the base layers before I get to some of these softer ones here. This one here. This had a little bit of interesting kind of, the petals came out a little bit over there and down here. So now I have where light, this is light coming through the petals. Oh, I didn't show you this orange color, but that's why I have my box, so it's, anything is. So I'm gonna put a little bit of orange on there to try to. Let's do, just on the edges, we're gonna do that bright yellow. I got it a little brown so far. I'm going to go back in and do a little bit of green over the top. I have found that see how that it's. So this sunflower is reflecting, it has this light on it from this side, but it also has the blue light from the window. So it took me forever to figure out how I wanted to do this, but I will just glaze over with some green.
Are you using a hard pastel now?
I believe this is a Holbein. So it's just because it's the right color. Forget. I think what I'm going to do is there's an area right here that has a lot of light, so I'm going to do a little more of the, and then I will, this is like my highlight color. And I'm going to use this as a reference because it's hard to see it on here. Okay, so I better move on to a different flower.
So Sarah, there's a lot of artists will go put darks in first, go the light, highlight being the last thing. Is there a reason that you are doing one flower all at once and then moving around?
Yes, because I just found that to be the easiest to kind of have them in little compartments. I will, though, this is probably how, in my studio, this is probably as far as I would go. I don't want to that's too light. I don't want to get too far ahead. So I try not to finish it. I definitely don't want to finish it. I probably went a little more detailed than what I usually do. So thanks for bringing that to my attention. So let's go on to, we'll do a marigold next. Or maybe I'll do this sunflower next. But I do tend to do each flower separately. Now, if I do a still life with a lot of stuff in it, like vases and things, I do like a first coat everywhere, which is why I was saying I probably spent a little too much time on that, just in the context of doing a demo. I lost track. But I'll do this one too. Oh, that's not the right color. I was relieved when Sandy told me that you had a demonstrator who only painted 2 grapes. I thought, so I will be the slowest one. I do tend to be rather slow. I take a lot of breaks. I told Sandy I'm not very good at performing with my painting. I'll do the best I can, but
So do you take a lot of breaks because you get tired, or you just need to get away
I
from
need
it?
to get away, and plus that reminds me, you need to step back, and I've noticed when I do demos, I get like stuck up here because it's kind of unnatural for me to paint in front of people. I really wish I could do that thing like the person who paints it upside down and then you turn it over and, oh look, it's an eagle. You'll also notice I try to do like I don't want to do like this. I try to do the side of my pastel because I'm trying to keep it more like a paintbrush. And I had some gray in here, but apparently that's purple. Oh, that works.
I really like the abstract you're creating to your right.
Oh, this is this painting, so I thought I'd bring that.
It is actually cool.
Those are for sale.
Sign me up for the abstract.
So I'm gonna work on this this sunflower here. And I'm trying to remember to not get too carried away with I'm trying to go back to more how I do it in my studio. I actually found when I taught the classes for the Pastel Society of New Mexico, I actually found it easier to paint on other people's paintings. Because it's like there's no pressure. It's hard not to paint not to have the real thing though. On some of this I don't quite remember where I was. Oops, I went back to the first flower.
Get out that eraser.
And I'm glad that I drew these little, like, don't forget that indentation, because otherwise I would have just gone right over that one. You can't really see it in the picture, the blue that's in there, because when the photo prints out, it wants to make everything really warm and yellow, which is why, like, these flowers, anything red or orange tends to start looking all the same color. Let's see if I can do this better. And you definitely don't see a lot of, like, the where the light is coming through the petals as well. Hopefully I haven't dashed your opinion of me. Like, oh, now we've met her in person. What were we thinking?
Now you're just more relatable.
I do want to know how you set up your
You
still
don't
life,
live in heaven.
like background,
You
or
can't
do you block out color, I mean, your background, or
On this one, or?
just in general?
Oh, so I have, 1 second.
Sure.
Don't let me forget to talk about that, but my brain is like going on this spot first, so.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should-
That's okay, it's totally fine, I'll have to retrieve information from the other side of my brain to talk about it.
Close this file.
Yeah, and I'm batch processing it right now. Well, hopefully it's okay.
Deep breath, yeah.
The background?
Or just, I've never set up a still life.
Oh, okay. So I have some ways I do it. I will pin fabric to my wall,
Okay.
and I have a table that I set up things on. Or if I'm painting, if I'm standing up, I have, it's very high tech.
Cardboard box?
Valerie might have seen this presentation. I've done it on a cardboard box, or I have a bench that I will set up on a table so it's like the right height, and then I have the color, the fabric on the wall behind. Recently, I started taking a mat board and scoring it so I can kind of fold it into, like set it up like this. And then I can drape fabric over that. That's this one. It just had a black piece of felt on it, the little board of fabric. I just put a black piece of felt on.
Do you invent color with whatever goes with your composition for the background, or do you pick a fabric that goes with it?
This one, I wanted a dark blue, but all I had was black, so I did invent that because I like the blue better. And I've done this multiple times now, where I've just used the black and then made it blue. It's hard for me to, I'm getting better at this, but in the beginning I had a really hard time just making up stuff. That was always a recipe for disaster, was if I said, oh, I'm just gonna make this up, and yeah. So I tend to try to just, what I see is what I put in my paintings. Does that help?
Do you use real flowers or artificial flowers?
I did start with artificial flowers because it would take me forever, and you know, they die. But now that I'm faster and I can paint better from photos, I like to use real flowers. So they know me at the Trader Joe's now. That's where I go there all the time, and they have great flowers. These are Trader Joe flowers that I did. I just think some silk flowers are pretty good representation of what the flowers actually look like. When it comes to sunflowers, I haven't found any that I really thought looked like sunflowers. And plus the thing that you get with real flowers is, for example, this one that was just bending way over, or they'll have little characteristics that are you wouldn't find in like a nice, pretty, and that's what I was saying about, you know, remembering to put like the places where there's kind of wild and crazy petals, because that's what makes them more real. And part of the issue with the silk flowers is they're all very perfect. And
They don't have the limberness of a real flower.
yeah, and the light transmits differently through silk than it does through real petals.
Sunflowers are a good choice because they last a long
They
time.
do, and that's part of it. Is what I liked about sunflowers is I could take my time, and they're just so happy. As it gets farther out from the center, it's a little bit lighter, and I think I got it a little dark, so I'm gonna try to. I'm violating my first rule, which is to not finish things. But we're giving you a flavor of how to paint sunflowers. Do you have some people who can paint really fast? I'm always amazed at those people that, who's it, Nancy King Mertz? It's like an hour later, it's done and signed and in the frame. Okay, I was gonna do this one now. Oh, I didn't finish the center, so I have to. So even though this one's lit up, I'm going to start with my darks because there is that shade in there. And then I'm going to, so we're doing, that's probably not, it's a good start. It's probably not quite light enough, but we'll start with this one. And one thing I was going to mention is I try not to press really hard because if I kind of just put it on very lightly, I can put more pastel over the top. So I try to have a very light hand to give me the possibility of, as I get farther along towards the end, I'll press harder. But in the beginning, I want to keep it on the light end of things so that I have lots of potential for, that's not.
So I think that's one of the best things I know on your paintings is such fantastic optical blending. You know,
Oh, yeah.
layers, and you can just see it.
Well, and that's that's why I was showing you like how I build up the color. It's not just like, oh, this is the perfect one, and then.
Which too many artists do. They just.
So I tend to. I mean, it's a personal preference, right? But I like to kind of build up the colors over time. And if I give it a light touch, it's also, if I make a mistake, it's easier to correct it.
And how do you do that? How do you
Oh,
do corrections?
sure. I did bring my, okay, just make a mental note where I'm at. Okay, so, I'll get out on my little correcting things. Okay, so, on this dark paper, I will kind of brush it off. You can use, these are Mars erasers, and they'll erase it. My dad loves the story where I go, okay, I have had times where I go, oh my gosh, that flower looks terrible. And I will take the paintbrush and get as much off with the paintbrush, and then I have an old vacuum cleaner. I put it on the floor, put my foot on it, and vacuum it with the hose. And then I use the eraser, because I used to, before I discovered the vacuum and the eraser, I used to use water. Like I would brush off as much, and then I would put some water on it and kind of wash it off. But I found it changes the texture of the paper a little bit. So I like my vacuum cleaner solution. My dad was like, are you going to patent that? And then the other thing that I have found more recently, if I have to do a large area, I have found if I use alcohol and like blot it right away, that can help get the pastel off. But these erasers, I mean, you saw them right there. You can.
Does that change the texture of the paper?
Not as much as water. It's never quite perfect. Again, you know, the fresh, nice stuff. But it does I think the combination of the brushing and the vacuum and the eraser, because basically I want to get as much of the pigment off as possible.
Right. Is that specifically called a pastel eraser?
What's that?
It's just one of those white erasers.
I think it's called a Mars eraser.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's a brown one. It's a
I think it used to have a wrapper on
It's
it.
a white one to start with.
Yeah, it's not brown. It's just brown because I use my grubby hands. Yeah, they start out white. It's called a MARS, Mars eraser.
Sarah, curious which vacuum cleaner attachment you use.
Well, that's a good question. It's the hose with the skinniest, like the vertical, like the kind of angled head.
The edge tool.
No brush.
No brush.
No brush, yeah, right. Yeah. Right, it's a hose attachment. And you want it,
I gotta go home today.
what's that?
I found a little desktop vacuum that's a rechargeable thing with a nice attachment on the top.
So somebody did patent my idea.
I guess so.
And make a smaller
I have a
version.
handheld one in my studio too.
Yeah, because this is like a gigantic, this is like a regular size. So, a handheld one would be much better. But it does help to get a lot of the color off. It doesn't get it off all the way, but it does get it quite a bit cleaner. Did I get everybody's question? Okay, now where was I? I was on this flower. So we have a shadow here that I have to figure out how I think I did the darker one there. And then, again, it's up close to the center. It's always darker. Here I am, I was gonna go back. I'll just leave those for now. In the class that I taught at the Pastel Society, I made videos of my painting. Like I paint something and then I sped it up like twice as fast so that it would not take 3 hours for me to demo something. It actually seemed like it worked out pretty well.
I like speeding up videos, they sound like chipmunks.
What's that?
I said I like speeding up videos, they sound like chipmunks.
Well, I didn't, I had tried the idea of I was gonna make a video and talk, but it was like forever, so then I realized that if you speed it up, you can't have the sound. And so what I did was I just narrated it, which
That's a great idea.
it worked out really well. So that way people had more time to paint. And I didn't have this problem like, okay. Let's see where we're at here. This is where I'm going to, this flower has like some shadows coming up here like this, so you want to make sure you really, but it's the shape. You want to capture the shape of it. So I'm using this, the brightest yellow. Obviously, I don't have that middle light enough yet, so I have to figure out a lighter, maybe this one. We'll try this one. That will help me with the rest of it if I can get this better. Another thing I don't do is I try to on these parts I want to mix, but in other places I want the just to meet. I want the colors to just meet up. And for example, like down here where I will, if I got the shape well, I will they just want to meet up, but then in other places I will help that. I will use the background color to help delineate the petals a little bit, give it the
Negative painting.
yes, thank you. Yeah. Okay, so I want to. I think I have ADHD today because I'm like jumping all over today. But do you see how that
Oh, that really draws it, yeah.
you can, and if I want to like make this spot come in more, I can. It's like magic.
I'm curious about how you think about focusing your eye. Like, as you're doing all the flowers sort of a little bit separately to start, and then when do you start considering how you want the eye to move? You know, like
Oh, but that's before I start.
we'll call that negative.
Like with this, so with this setup, I really like this flower. A lot of time, I started with that flower, but a lot of times the special one, I wait till last to do that. But because I painted it multiple times, I felt more comfortable doing it earlier. But in this was where, like, I was like, okay, here's kind of my, where I think people will look, and then they'll kind of travel up like this, and oh, look at that, fun. And then down back to here, and it goes back up. So what I found is if I spend, the more time I spend up front, the less time, like then I can just paint. It's a lot harder for me to correct it after the fact. Like that one I was telling you about where I had the black hole. I had finished that painting. I wasn't, that one, somebody bought it. But, So I did it all, because I wanted to fix it, I did it all over again, and I fixed that spot. Ahead of time, I figured out, okay, this is what I need to do.
So you were talking about doing multiple photographs and then choosing from there to help with composition. Then you go back and rearrange your live flowers to match.
So when, yes, that's why it takes me so long, and sometimes they don't cooperate. So,
Bad flower, bad.
yeah, and so, let me think on those paintings, if, not really on any of those, but, I will do as much with the physical, setup as I can to get it the way I want it. But that's where if there's something I need, like I want to change, and I can't make it happen in the setup, I will do it later either. Like this one, I moved this flower out a bit because I like that leaf. I can do minor adjustments now. I didn't used to be able to, but I've got better at that now. But I will, like, if I need a flower in a certain spot and I don't have a flower, I will look through my pictures and say, oh, I can put that one there, and I'll cut it out and tape it onto the photo. So it'll actually, like, let's say I thought, oh, but maybe I didn't have this flower, I can put it on there. The flowers I do, have you seen the paintings where they're on the rocks outside? Those ones I've gotten much better at those, and I will paste. I'll paste different flowers places, but it's usually something I have in another photo that I'll move into there. Sometimes I can make it up if it's like a background flower, but usually I try to have an example to work from.
So when you say you cut them out, not physically, but on Photoshop?
No.
Oh, actually physically. Okay.
I'm sure there is a way to do it on Photoshop, I'm just not that good at it. But I'll print out multiple copies and I'll take a scissor and paste it on. But it really, that's just, I think probably some people can just make it up, but I just have to see it. I have something going on here that I want to try to get this. And again, see, I started dark, but I got lighter. And what's better? I really like how that shape has come up. We'll leave it for now, and then I want to I was thinking about those videos that I made. The one thing that I thought was funny is I must talk to myself, because in the videos, when I sped them up, it looks like I'm chewing gum. So just if you're going to do that, just make sure that you watch how much you talk. So this has a lot of light on there, so I'm gonna put some of this lighter pastel. Over top of the yellow, or this one. Oh, okay, sure, I would love to take a break. Sorry about that. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I asked.
I actually, the new one that I have is just not made. The new one that I have. I actually couldn't tell what I did. It's a roll, and you put it in. No, like wallpaper. Press it down. Like with a spatula. If you send me an email, I can send you the number. It's the 3M, this one I use. It's like, it's called 3M positional. So they don't make that anymore. But yes, and if you send me an email. What is it called?
Nesson
Yeah, here.
Beauty 870 double stick adhesive film.
Yeah, so my assistant,
Yeah.
yeah, he's good at finding things online, so I tend to.
What are you talking about?
So I had several people ask how I adhere the paper to the mat board or the foam core. And it's a pressure sensitive film adhesive that is, you roll it out, it comes in rolls, you roll it out and you just put the paper down onto it and press it and cut around it and then flip it over and use like a spatula type thing to get it to really adhere. Because you have to press kind of hard because it's a pressure sensitive. So I think there's like little bubbles in there that when you press hard and release the adhesive. And then you peel off the backing paper and you can attach it. I used to use 3M positional mounting adhesive, which they don't make anymore. And I think this new stuff sticks better. Because I had some problems with the 3M, the edges would start to come up, but this, it's great.
Where do you find it, and does it have a brand name?
Where's your assistant?
It's GUDY 870
Is that
The brand name is NESCHEN.
Beauty.
so I think he gets it on Amazon.
So,
Have you tried the UART stick and peel?
I am going to get to try that soon. I don't know if any of you have ordered 12 by 18 sand colored UART, but I have a sunflower painting on that, so they send me papers and they're going to send me some of that. I have not tried it.
I haven't tried it yet either.
I'll have to try it. So I have no opinion on that. It could be fantastic. I just don't know, but.
which are you talking about now?
So UART has a paper that they have actually put the adhesive on the back already. And it's relatively new and I'm gonna try it out. I have no opinion on it yet because I haven't tried it.
To me, it's their way of correcting their folded up paper.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I get UART dark, I don't get their UART light anymore at all. It's like the dark doesn't seem to curl as much. You don't
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're more consistent recently. In the beginning, I had a lot of trouble when Wallace paper was going out. There was one time when there was like a chicken wire pattern all over it.
Yeah.
But fortunately they replaced it all because I was like, it sounds like a definite chicken wire, and apparently there's some part of the process where they hang it to dry and they hadn't let it dry before or after, and so it picked up the pattern of what they dried on. So somebody had asked me, since I'm not going to finish, what things I might want you to know about. I wanted to do a marigold because, so marigolds are like kind of marshmallow shape. And so basically, you would just do, and I don't think this is even dark. I think I used a darker color. But for the marigolds, it's basically just getting the, maybe I can try that. Oh, here I was going to show you about marigolds and I can't find the color I want. But usually what I'll do is I'll just do, you just kind of have the dark in there. So that's like this dark here. And then you just go in with some of your lighter. I love marigolds. They're so fun. But they have all those petals, but you don't need to do them all because you're just gonna do the ones that you can kind of see. So that gives you an idea. See, it's just like squinting and there's the dark and you do the mid-tone and the highlight on top of that. So that's kind of an example of the different colors you might use for that. And maybe I'll try some of my new cherry button pastels. Let's see. Yeah, we'll try these. Okay, so for the stems, I don't do this. I do, ooh, that is so nice. Wow. I think I just need to move to Colorado and have a house in Littleton.
By the way, Ludwig says moved to the
Yes,
new location.
I went yesterday, it's
And
very
it's,
nice.
right around the corner from where they were.
What a pain to have to move all that stuff.
I can't imagine, they look like they've been there for several years already.
Yeah, it's a pretty good setup.
I thought the funniest thing was that he said, so they've only been there 5 days, and already the moth was everywhere. It's like this pinky violet color that just is all the spatulas were that color. He said that's, that color for some reason is very persistent. So I just wanted to point out how, like with the petals and stuff, it's the side of the pastel. And then like over here, I can cut in like this. I talk too much. So it's, again, it's just very light. I don't know, what was this color that I got? Probably need something lighter than that, but it gives you an idea. I need to find a much lighter one. I would be terrible, and you know those pastel things where you go out and paint as fast as you can? I would just be terrible at that.
Yes.
I'm trying to find oh, that one. Okay. So notice I did all my mids and darks, and then I'm gonna, it's still not as light as I want it to be, but this is getting closer. We're coming up on we're approaching the value that I'm looking for. Have to go even lighter. See, but because I was very gentle, I can build up to it, and I can. So that's like the light coming on that one side, and there's another spot here. Good thing I brought this box for the, like, 2 pastels under these. And I'm thinking, sometimes something else I'll do, like if I feel like I kind of lost some of the shape that I wanted, I might go back in with the I kind of lost that one.
What are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is a charcoal pencil. And let's see. So I will use charcoal too. Oh, we talked about making things symmetrical. So I guess this is the meniscus for the water, where the top of the water is. When I first drew this, I was thinking, why does it look like my glass jar is? But it's because I had this like over here. So instead of ending at the same height, it had, do you know what I'm, so I hadn't gotten that even, but that's where I can, so I went, okay, it must not be symmetrical. So I measured it, and then I went, oh yeah, I'm like 1/4 of an inch off on that side. So that you can, and then sometimes this works if you're side on, not if you're looking down, but if my bottle looks like it's leaning, I'll measure, okay, this is 8 3/16, so it should be like 8. You know, I'll make sure that it kind of lines up. I also, if I'm working on a big painting, I'll measure to make sure that I have the bottom of the paper lined up correctly with the easel, you know, so that, because if your paper's cockeyed, then you're not going to be able to get things lined up right. I did learn that when you look down on bottles, they're more, they're smaller at the bottom, the perspective. That took me a long time to figure that out, because I had a view where I was looking kind of, not directly down, but kind of diagonally down, and I couldn't figure out why it looked like the table was standing upright. So I was working on the table and it didn't change anything. And then I had this aha moment that, oh, it's not the table, it's the shape of the bottles, and they needed to be, you know, like smaller at the bottom to get the feeling like you were looking down. You probably can't see that because it's so small. But, and it was like magic. When I changed the shape of the bottles, the table laid flat. And I was looking at the wrong thing. The side-on view is definitely the simple. From the standpoint of still lifes, if you're starting with still lifes, I would definitely do the side-on view. It's a lot easier to figure out. So, do we just stay here all day, or is there?
Yeah. Till you finish. So, if people need to leave, of course, do. But we have the room available till 1 o'clock.
Oh my goodness.
So it's up to you. If you.
I'm not sure I'll make it that long.
No. It's up to you, Sarah.
Okay.
Sarah, I have a question.
Okay.
There's a little rectangle thing under that piece of paper right there in front of you. Is that a tool or something that you use?
Okay, I was going to show you some of the things I like to play with. And again, nothing I do, the only thing, original thought I had was the vacuum cleaner, and now I find out somebody else already. Andrew McDermott likes to play with combs, so I thought I would play with combs. And it's kind of fun, you know. You can do that, and so that was. I usually find that I end up playing with the combs when I don't like it how it is, so I mess it up. I play with the combs on it, but sometimes like on the flowers you can do this with to get some interesting shapes in there, you know. Except you got to wipe it off each time. And then did you notice that when I do the stems, did I already mention this? I take the side and I do like this. You know, I try not to do, I don't use the tip, I just use the side of the pastels. Like if I do trees, I'm doing this all the way up. Okay, so that's the cone, and then there's like various little bits of stuff to, if you want to blend things or make them look cool. I just, I find if I start to play with stuff if I'm not happy with how it turned out, and so I'll experiment. And actually sometimes when you start experimenting, that's when you go, oh, that's cool, like, that's a happy accident. How about I will finish this and then I'll send you a picture?
That would be great.
Later,
Yeah. Yes, we'll put it in the newsletter.
Yeah, that sounds good. On the glass jars, I'll just real quick on the glass. I think painting glass is super fun because like the light is reflected and it transmits through and then it's reflected so that it's like, it's just the way the light bounces around in it and the way the light bounces in the inside the water. And it's really just a matter of this one last thing, like on the glass. This is if you have a very light touch, then you can pull some of that like gray or violet over to kind of give an illusion of the glass. And you know, it's always distorted inside the inside the
What tool are you using
bottle.
to
What's that?
scrape that?
Oh, it's just a pastel. It's like a
tool, sorry.
this is a like a gray. And then I was going to show you. I'll show you real quick. This isn't like magic or anything, but to get some of the reflection on the glass. So I can see my window reflected on this side, so I just can do kind of like that, because it's not really a solid reflection, so that's something else. And then there might be like a darker, but this is like the icing on the cake. I wait to do these kind of things till I'm happy with all the other parts of it. So that's just an idea of, I can already see I didn't quite get this line right.
How would you approach the side of the jar? So looking at your painting that you did, like the top left is almost invisible.
Yeah, that's, so that's where when I was squinting in my studio, and even in this picture, I couldn't see it. So initially I had done like an edge. No, maybe it was like that. And then I just did, I just went over it. And again, if you use a real light touch, then you can do that sort of thing. Because I'm kind of mixing on the paper, I guess, while I'm. I'll get better with practice in like 10 years. But I can see right now that I have probably, comes down too far, so I probably want to straighten it out a little bit. And I probably would just, which pastel? Oh, I know which one I used. I probably would just like raise this up a little bit. It's not such an egregious mistake that I couldn't fix it just by kind of going over it. But I definitely do the highlight parts last, so I'm way ahead of myself on that one. Okay, I think I'm good. Do you have any other questions? Any other questions?
Sarah, you are so masterful at your positive shapes, the flowers and vases, but will you speak a little bit about your negative shapes? They're just masterful. Just the design is incredible.
So, what do you mean by that?
The same blue background, the edges around the flowers, the shapes, the negative shapes are just incredibly rhythmic and beautiful. And
well, thank you.
What advice do you have on getting better at that?
So I would say that is not something I was aware of necessarily. You and I have talked about a lot of this. I just like, it's kind of intuitive, but this is where, like, when I've set it up, I look for what makes me happy on the paper. So I don't really have, I guess now I'll be more aware of it. Thanks for a hard question, Lauren. What's that?
Whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
Oh, okay. Any other hard questions? I think the classes I taught recently, the big message I had for people was, besides like some of the building block things with like the values and the warms and cools, was practice. Like you have to paint a lot to get good at painting. And as a plug to volunteers, I'm the past president this year, but I was treasurer and president of the Pastel Society of New Mexico, for a stint of like 4 years. And I actually improved so much just being more involved in the Pastel Society. Because like I had to enter all the shows because I was president, and I had to go to all the workshops, and I had to go to all the meetings. And I just had to paint a lot more, and it really upped my game, I think. I still don't paint very fast, but so I still have to practice with that. But I I was surprised how much being more involved in the Pastel Society really helped my painting. So think about that when they look for volunteers, because I know we're always trying to get people to help out. So that would, the more you paint, the better you get, and the more involved you are, and the more you're exposed to like different people and going to workshops. I think it just really makes a huge difference. So.
Do you recommend continuing to take workshops? Do you ever take workshops still?
Oh yeah, I took Lorenzo's last year in New Mexico. I'm going to take Barbara Janicki. She's coming to New Mexico next spring. And a lot, sometimes I go like with Lorenzo, I'd heard he was a really good teacher, so I wanted to see how he taught things, and I realized, I'll never be that good at that, but thank you, Lorenzo.